Hey guys, Buffalo here. I'm out doing a little target practice with the 22 rifle today. And you can see I don't have a suppressor on there. Shooting some very, very quiet rounds today. That sounds pretty neat. You know, you can hear that report from the steel louder than the report from the rifle. And I'm shooting some 22 Aguila Colibris. I bought a 500 pack of these a while back, down to my last box. They're kind of addictive to shoot, but let's take a look at them. All right, so here's what we're looking at today, guys. The Calbri is this one. You can see the bullet is quite a bit shorter. Why it only weighs 20 grains. Aguila has this bullet rated at 375 feet per second at the muzzle and has about 6 foot-pounds of energy. So this is not something you're going to take backpacking into bear country to use for self-defense. But it is a fun little plinker, and I know some people use it for pest control. You know, I wouldn't take anything larger than a pigeon with it myself. But if we were to take and pull this bullet, there'd be no gunpowder in this case. Let me see if I can pull this thing. All right, there's the case. The bullet's fired strictly by the primer. So there's no, I destroyed that bullet pulling it out of there. But there's no, and that's the base, that hollow base, standing up. There's no gunpowder in the bullet whatsoever, fired strictly by primer. And Aguila doesn't recommend shooting these in a rifle. And that's because the bullet is traveling so slow that it can actually get stuck in the barrel. And I've heard many reports of that happening. Although I have fired 500 of these or so, almost 500 now, through this little break open action rifle. And I haven't had any cases of the bullet sticking in the barrel, but that doesn't mean it won't stick in your rifle. So always be careful if you do that. And the break open action allows me to check the barrel each time I fire a shot. So if I don't hear that bullet hit the steel or hit my target or the backstop, when I eject the old case, it's just a simple step to look through the barrel and be able to see through it and see if there's no obstructions. So just be careful if you shoot them in a rifle. They are made for pistols, but most, they will not cycle a semi-automatic, of course. You probably already knew that. There's just not enough energy created by the primer only to cycle a semi-automatic. And even in my semi-automatic Ruger pistols, I can cycle them manually one at a time, but I can't cycle them from my magazine because the shorter bullet won't hit my feed ramp properly as it's exiting the magazine. It hits the front of the magazine, so I can't even cycle them from my magazine. So I ended up firing the large majority of them through my little rifle here. All right, let's shoot one over the chronograph. Like I said, Aguila advertises these at 375 feet per second. That's probably tested from a short barrel pistol, since these were intended for use only in a pistol. So let's see what we're getting out of this rifle. .416 feet per second. Now that's not very quick. That's a very, very slow bullet. Most of the air rifles that you'll buy at Walmart are going to be a lot quicker than that at shooting a pellet. And louder. You know, the pellet, the spring in a pellet rifle is louder than the primer going off in one of these. Get my earplug in. I've already got this one in. Of course, you don't need hearing protection with the Calbri. And I will shoot a standard velocity 22 long rifle 36 grain hollow point over the chronograph just for comparison. (1,273 feet per second). So a pretty big difference when you're comparing the a little round like the Calibri with a standard 22 long rifle round. Now, as far as penetration goes, of course you can't expect much from a 20 grain bullet going 400 feet per second. But and that's why I said I wouldn't shoot, as far as a pest goes, I wouldn't shoot anything larger than a pigeon personally. But I've got 3 beers set up here. Let's see if we can penetrate a beer. They say Calibri actually means Keystone Light in Spanish. Actually, it means hummingbird from what I'm told. Let's give it a shot. Woo! Wow. Made a mess. The little hummingbird does quite well. Actually went through all 3 beers. You know, we may have to do a ballistic beer video on the little Calibri just to see how powerful it really is. And those are the large 16-ounce beers too. Wow. I'm impressed with the little guy. Since I won't be able to recover that bullet, we're not going to get a chance to see what it looks like. But I wouldn't expect much change in the way the bullet looks anyway, simply because of, you know, it's a solid point. It's not a hollow point or anything. That was pretty cool. Now, I found the accuracy of the little 20 grain bullet to be decent within the 20-yard range, and it falls off pretty rapidly out past that. I'll try to demonstrate here. I'm at the 20-yard mark, and I'll try to shoot a group of 5 shots onto that little 4x4 square that is the head of that little IPSC style target there. Now, I know this doesn't demonstrate the gun or the bullet's actual accuracy, but it demonstrates that I can shoot it okay enough to get most tasks done. Most of you guys know that I absolutely despise shooting from a bench. You know, benches to me are for checking your zero, lining up your scope, that sort of thing. But once you get dialed in, it's time to get up on your feet and get out and do some real shooting. Is that 3? Yeah. There's 5, and I've got 1 more here. Might as well put it on there too. All right. So as you can see, that's not a great group by any means, but it does make it an actual useful cartridge. It's you know, like I said, that's a 4-inch square, so, and at 20 yards, and my shooting, anybody with a little bit of practice at shooting could certainly do a lot better than I just done. But like I said, it just shows that it does have a practical use. Man, I love that sound, that where you can actually hear the hammer fall and then hear the report from the steel. And I wouldn't shoot up close, real close to at the steel, like at 10 yards or less with these, simply because they are going so slow that they're at the potential there for it to bounce back. We're at the 40-yard mark right here. No trouble hitting those big plates at 40 yards. You know, me and my wife, come down here sometimes and we'll play horse. If you've ever played horse in basketball where you make a shot, the other guy misses, he gets a letter. Well, we come down here and do that with our 22s quite often. There was a miss. But that would have given me a letter right there. But like I say, when you're using a rifle with these, always check that bore if there's any doubt that that bullet didn't leave. I actually heard it hit down there, but out of habit, I still checked my bore. Nothing wrong with that. So I guess in closing on these little Calibri rounds, I would say, you know, right now 22 ammo was just, all the experts predicted that it would be back on the shelves, back at Walmart, and it's just not happening. But I can walk into my local Sportsman's Warehouse and buy these Calibris pretty much just anytime I want them. So they've always got some of those in stock. So like I say, sometimes we don't have much choice in what ammo we can get our hands on when it comes to 22. And that's how I ended up trying these out actually. I stopped in to check on some 22 ammo and these were all they had. And I picked that 500 round brick up. I may go back and get some more since I'm about done with these. This is my daughter's little NEF 22 rifle. She's actually got a 410 barrel that goes on it too. But it's handy for taking care of starlings or whatever. A lot of times those blackbirds try to come in and steal my dog's food, and I'll set up a little ambush for them. These are great for, you know, if you've got close neighbors, but you still want to get some target practice in. You know, nobody has to know you're shooting. You could set you up a little bullet trap. Nobody would ever know you were out practicing. Of course, you always want to be safe. Make sure you do have a bullet trap set up, because even though they're only 410 feet per second, they could still do some traveling. That's about all I got, guys. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk with y'all again soon.